David Miller was more than just a name. He was a young man brimming with an infectious zest for life, a naturally gifted mechanic with a deep passion for classic cars and a cherished dream of one day opening his very own garage. He was the quintessential good neighbor, the kind of person who always had a genuine smile, a ready helping hand, and a quick, witty joke to share. A beloved son, a protective older brother, and an incredibly loyal friend, David embodied the very spirit of his small, tight-knit community. His future, like the open road he dreamed of cruising, seemed utterly limitless, filled with the promise of honest hard work, simple joys, and the boundless freedom he so deeply cherished. But one sweltering summer night, a brutal and senseless crime shattered the idyllic peace of their quiet town. And in its devastating wake, David's life was irrevocably stolen. Not by the true perpetrator of the crime, but by a justice system that, in its haste and flawed judgment, failed him profoundly. He was accused, tried, and ultimately convicted for a heinous murder he steadfastly maintained he didn't commit. This isn't merely a story about a crime, it's a profound exploration of the lasting, agonizing echoes of injustice and a family's relentless, decades-long fight to reclaim a life that was so wrongfully taken, a battle for truth against overwhelming odds. The crime itself was horrific. The brutal murder of Mrs. Eleanor Vance, a beloved and respected community member, found tragically in her own home. The entire town was instantly gripped by fear, disbelief, and a desperate, overwhelming need for immediate answers. Under immense public pressure, the local police department, including then-Detective John Reynolds, moved with a speed that, in hindsight, may have compromised thoroughness. Retired Detective Reynolds' interview. It was a high-profile case, the kind that truly shakes a small town to its very core. Every single person wanted answers, and they wanted them yesterday. We had a suspect, David Miller, based on what seemed like compelling circumstantial evidence at the time, and a confession that, yes, he later recanted. Looking back now, the pressure to close that case, to bring a sense of resolution to the community, was immense. We genuinely believed we had our man, and the community collectively breathed a sigh of relief. But sometimes that relief, that sense of closure, can be profoundly misleading. The evidence presented against David was, in retrospect, largely circumstantial, a vague witness description that could have fit many, a disputed timeline of his whereabouts, and a confession David vehemently recanted, claiming it was made under duress after hours of interrogation. Despite these glaring inconsistencies and the lack of direct forensic links, the jury, undoubtedly swayed by the emotional weight of the brutal crime and the prosecution's compelling, albeit flawed, narrative, delivered a guilty verdict. David Miller, a young man at just 22 years old with his entire life ahead of him, was sentenced to life in prison. The initial days of his incarceration were a blur of profound disbelief, crushing despair, and the chilling, agonizing realization that his freedom, his dreams, his entire future had been unjustly stripped away by the very system meant to protect him. While David began his life sentence within the cold, unforgiving walls of prison, his family was simultaneously plunged into a different kind of confinement, one of profound grief, undeserved shame, and an unwavering, desperate belief in his innocence. His mother, Maria Miller, describes the decades that followed as a constant, relentless, living nightmare. The loss wasn't merely emotional. It was a profound, systemic injustice that consumed their every waking moment, casting a long, dark shadow over every aspect of their lives. Every single day, for nearly 3 decades, I woke up with a knot in my stomach, a heavy weight in my chest. My son, my David, was trapped in a cage for something he absolutely did not do. The world outside moved on, people forgot, but for us, time itself seemed to stop the day he was convicted. Birthdays, holidays, family gatherings. They were all perpetually shadowed by his agonizing absence, by the chilling knowledge of where he was and why. People in town looked at us differently, whispered behind our backs. We were the family of a murderer. It wasn't just the unbearable pain of his physical absence. It was the crushing injustice, the constant, exhausting fight against a system that, time and again, refused to listen, refused to see the truth. How do you live? How do you breathe? How do you find any semblance of peace when your child's entire life has been stolen by a lie? The initial media attention and public outcry, intense as they were, eventually faded, as new crimes and new headlines inevitably emerged. For Maria and David's loved ones, the deafening silence that followed the initial conviction was almost as unbearable as the guilty verdict itself. They felt increasingly isolated, their private agony playing out against a backdrop of public indifference and a justice system that, in its own eyes, considered the case definitively closed. This, truly, is the unseen aftermath, the quiet, persistent suffering, the relentless emotional toll that continues to haunt families for decades, a testament to the profound, generational impact of wrongful conviction and the agonizing wait for truth. But Maria Miller, fueled by an unbreakable mother's love and an unwavering, absolute conviction in David's innocence, refused to let his case remain buried in the archives of a flawed system. She transformed her profound grief into powerful, relentless action, channeling her pain into a singular purpose. She tirelessly sought help, eventually connecting with the state's Innocence Project, a dedicated non-profit organization committed to overturning wrongful convictions through meticulous investigation and legal advocacy. Maria's dedication was truly inspiring, a force of nature. When she first came to us, David's case was decades old, buried under layers of bureaucracy, faded memories, and entrenched legal precedent. But her unwavering belief, her meticulously kept notes from all those years, and her sheer, indomitable will convinced us that there was a truth waiting to be uncovered. We immediately began the arduous process of re-examining every single piece of evidence, every witness statement, every minute detail of the original trial. It's an incredibly challenging process to overturn a conviction, especially one so old where evidence can be lost and memories fade, but every small discovery, every new piece of forensic technology that emerged over the years gave us renewed hope. It's a profound testament to her unwavering resilience and belief in her son. Through the tireless, collaborative efforts of the Innocence Project and Maria's relentless advocacy, new, compelling evidence slowly but surely began to emerge. Advanced DNA testing, a technology unavailable at the time of the original trial, definitively pointed away from David. Eyewitness testimony was meticulously re-evaluated, revealing critical flaws and inconsistencies that had been overlooked. Maria organized powerful public awareness campaigns, shared David's agonizing story on social media, and became a powerful, vocal advocate for sweeping criminal justice reform, tirelessly highlighting the systemic issues and human errors that had led to his wrongful conviction. Her unwavering dedication not only kept David's case prominent in the public consciousness, but, more importantly, brought tangible hope and much-needed support to countless other families fighting similar, heartbreaking battles. This was the true fight for justice, a battle fought not just for David's freedom, but for all those whose voices had been tragically silenced by a flawed system. After 28 agonizing years, a lifetime for many, the truth finally, undeniably prevailed. David Miller's conviction was officially overturned and he walked free, a man in his early 50s, having spent more than half his life behind bars for a crime he did not commit. The moment of his release, a tearful, long-awaited embrace with his mother, was a profound testament to their unwavering faith, their unbreakable bond, and the sheer power of human perseverance against unimaginable odds. David Miller interview. Stepping out of those gates, after all those years, it was overwhelming, almost surreal. The world had changed so much, moved on, but I hadn't. The hardest part wasn't just losing my youth, my dreams, it was the crushing injustice, the feeling of being utterly forgotten by the world. But my mother, the incredible team at the Innocence Project, they never, ever gave up on me. Now, my purpose is clearer than ever, to ensure no one else suffers what I did. My freedom isn't just for me, it's for every innocent person still trapped in that broken system, fighting for their truth. David Miller's story stands as a powerful and poignant reminder that the true impact of crime extends far beyond the initial act, encompassing the devastating, far-reaching ripple effects of injustice and systemic failure. It's a profound testament to the enduring strength of the human spirit, the unwavering pursuit of truth even when the odds seem insurmountable, and the transformative impact one life can have even after decades of suffering. The echoes of David's stolen years and his relentless fight for justice continue to resonate deeply, inspiring hope, fostering crucial systemic change, and bringing solace to countless others who walk a similar path. Fighting for their own freedom and for a more just world, the fight for justice doesn't always end with a verdict. Sometimes it's just the beginning. If you believe in the power of truth and the fundamental importance of a fair and equitable justice system, please consider supporting organizations like the Innocence Project. who work tirelessly to free the wrongfully convicted and advocate for vital systemic change. Every contribution, every shared voice helps to right these profound wrongs and build a more just society for all. Join us next time on Systemic Lens, the unseen aftermath, as we continue to explore the profound, lasting impact of crime and injustice, and share the powerful, inspiring stories of resilience, unwavering advocacy, and the indomitable human spirit. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel to support our mission of bringing these vital, often overlooked stories to light.